What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? This is Kameron Devon Crew in the building this evening, hosted by none other than Mr. Gurinder Khabra, bringing you episode 2 of the Jaguar's Den podcast. And tonight, the episode is going to be about the attitude of a winner. And we're going to break down exactly the right beliefs and mental frame that winners often possess. And we're going to break down exactly how the beliefs and the framing facilitates them to move through ups and downs along their trajectory toward their desired outcomes and helps contribute to the win, and how it helps prevent them from succumbing to any temporary defeat and ultimately quitting, which is truly the only way that you can be a loser, is to make the decision yourself to give up on the endeavor, thereby locking in the L. So we're also going to cover the exact methodology so that it's not just an abstract concept. We're going to take it away from being just a motivational talk, and we're going to give you the exact processes that you can execute and put into your morning routine, into your evening routine, and into your work routine so that you can access the mental, emotional, and physical state, or the attitude overall, of a winner to make you more empowered to achieve your goals. Yes, indeed, indeed. So, Gurinder, man, how you feeling tonight? Give everybody a nice introduction into the episode.
What's up, everybody? Gurinder here, calling out of Las Vegas, Nevada. We're going to talk about the attitude of gratitude. We're going to talk about what it means to be positive and how a positive mindset creates a positive life. I think when we do nothing with our lives, and I'm sure we know some of these people, but when we do nothing with our life, the natural state of our mind and our body is to deteriorate. Just like if you leave a lawn unkept, it'll overgrow and it won't look too appealing. So I think a lot of the times we really gotta be very aggressive with our self-development and really allowing ourselves to remember all the positive things that are in our life. And in fact, I was doing my gratitude journal today, and I'm like, you know what, man? One of the first things, and that was one of the coldest lines I've ever written. It says, some people didn't wake up today.
Mm.
Some people got hooked on drugs today. So I look at that, I'm like, man, I need to be a little more grateful. I didn't find out that I have cancer. None of my family members found out they have cancer. So that's where it all begins.
That's meaningful and deep, to be completely honest with you. And we're really going to get into some of that and make it very practical for y'all in this episode. Um, if you're taking notes, I want you to go ahead and write down what will be the primary methodology that we implement in our routines and our overall operating system for us to access this attitude of a winner, to firmly install it into the operating system, and to truly embody the attitude of a winner so that when we take action, we're more inclined to succeed. And the methodology is the pyramid stack. The methodology is the pyramid stack. And the pyramid stack, I want you to envision a pyramid. And I will give you some assistance, and I'll actually draw it on the board here behind me. This is your pyramid, okay? The pyramid stack is a three-pronged approach, or a three-step process to entering the exact state that we're going to be referring to as the attitude of a winner. The three-step process is visualization, gratitude, and incantation. And that's what you need to understand. We will give you some additional practices, rituals, protocols, but the meat and potatoes of the self development, the practical application that you really need to memorize and develop a really thorough process for is the pyramid stack. So we'll refer back to that, but for all the note takers, okay, tonight we're talking about the attitude of a winner and the methodology that you can use to implement into your self-development protocols starting tonight is going to be the pyramid stack that we will break down in exact detail. Both Gurinder and I have been executing the visualization, the gratitude, and the incantations as three practices that you execute in order with some additional protocols that you can add if you really want to put some extra sauce and maximize your state. But that's the meat and potatoes that if you execute these three rituals or practices daily, you will experience a substantial elevation in your overall state, and you will get measurably greater results with more consistency and more reliability. Anything you want to quickly introduce on the attitude of a winner or the pyramid theory stack before we actually break it down, though?
I think, especially as us as men, we have a inclination to really double down on our finances and our work, and really, especially for those who are ambitious, and to just make that our identity, just money, work, and maybe some gym. Or some other, it could be the reverse. For some people, it could be mostly the gym and a little bit of money and a little bit of having a social life. I think the biggest thing that has to go down is we need a holistic approach, because we've seen those people who just spend their entire lives working and they have a very high anxiety type of personality, and you can't turn it off when you're 50 and you want to retire, or when you're 60 you want to retire. So I think what's important is to really take a step back and figure out the type of person we want to become when we're proud of at 80 years old, looking back at our life. So absolutely, man, campaigning is extremely important, and I think every man should have that in his arsenal when he goes out and steps to a pretty woman.
Absolutely. And I want to build on that actually. One thing that I found, so in the coaching program, so I'm known as a dating coach, right? Uh, TikTok being my most popular platform where I have the greatest reach. My YoCam videos, where individuals would walk up to me and ask me questions about something related to their dating advice, sometimes self-development, or a particular woman that they're actually seeing romantically, I started giving these responses live in public, giving people some quick game, but really breaking it down real thorough. And these videos started going viral. So I became known as a dating coach. But in reality, I am truly a masculine self-actualization coach. And in the program, we work on performance, how to create systems, strategies, tactics, so structure, and getting the right education, the right installation, the right implementation of those systems, and then taking the proper action with accountability to produce the transformational result. So when we work towards goals, we view our goals holistically. So generally speaking, we don't just approach, let's say, a fitness goal or a money goal in isolation. When we want to get our money up, when we want to get a better physique goal, for example, we understand that the body is a system and your reality is a system. And when you want to impact in a controlled, measurable way one aspect of the reality, you got to holistically address the whole reality. So that means that if you want to improve your money, okay, you can affect your money outcomes by addressing your mental, emotional health, your nutrition, your physical training, your relationships. All of that contributes to the money goal. You dig what I'm saying? And the more obvious examples of this would be if you were executing in your career and all of a sudden you came down and you collapsed underneath a health crisis, God forbid, that would obviously have probably pretty severe implications on your ability to produce and to earn well, or it would at least stress the issue and make it more challenging, right? On the flip side, if you're optimizing your mental, emotional, and physical health, okay, you're probably going to be more empowered to work hard and earn well. If you are working in your career and you're really focused on that area of your life and you go through a divorce or a terrible breakup, that has the potential to greatly impact your money. You see what I'm saying? So when you respect that properly, then you realize, okay, these aspects of my life, they don't exist in isolation. Everything is connected. And we break down 7 categories in what we call the magnum opus reality. I encourage all men to view their life not as what it is today, but to view their life through the lens of the compelling vision for the future that you're striving toward, something that creates charisma, excitement, a pull motivation that draws you toward. The reality that you envision must be so grand and great and magnificent that it creates, that it itself pulls you towards it. And we break down the magnum opus reality into 7 categories. So for the note takers, magnum opus desired reality is what you should write down. That's basically the term that we use to refer to your entire reality. So when you think about goals, I want you to think about goals within the reality. And there are 7 categories or buckets where you can start dropping goals now. So then you can better structure and organize your thinking intellectually so that you can make better systematic and structural plans to execute upon. So within the magnum opus desired reality, the 7 categories are ideal self, ideal career, ideal personal finances and money, ideal home, ideal vehicle, ideal wardrobe, style, and personal appearance, ideal relationships, and everything for the most part in a man's reality exists in one of those buckets. And that I'll leave it right there. That's what you first need to understand. And then the last point that I want to add, building upon what you just said, Gurinder, is when when most guys think about how to achieve their goals, I think, like you said, they typically focus a little bit too much on just the money. But I also think guys take a little bit, they don't respect the power of intangible training or training on the intangibles. So if a guy has a money goal, they typically focus on, okay, tangible actions like I need more sales calls. I need to produce more leads. I need to spend more money on ads. I need to better leverage tangible money or other resources. But I think guys don't understand the significance, the power, and the necessity of the intangibles that are a part of the equation, which is mindset, uh, emotional wellness, you know, purpose, state training, identity, these sorts of things. Because you can see concretely the tangible things that you can kind of track, measure, and take action on, right? Like the number of sales calls that you execute next week. But what is a little bit more difficult to track and measure is you can look at the week and say, okay, I had 10 sales calls. I produced this result. And then you can make inferences based on that data. But what about the state that you were in during those 10 sales calls? What about the identity that was present during those calls? What about the emotions that were active inside you during those 10 sales calls? Those things are I almost want to say equally as important, but they're hugely important, right? And part of that equation. So before we break down any actual methodology, Grinder, can you talk about like in your self-development journey, because you've been a businessman for a long time, right? And obviously you have the level of mastery over working on a lot of the tangible aspects of business. But I think in more recent years, you've learned how to really infuse a lot of the self-development or the intangible training into the mix so that you can get better results in your business as well as in other areas of your life on that magnum opus reality. Can you talk a little bit about or help relate with some of the guys who might not be used to doing a journal, or they might think that sitting and doing a visualization or a meditation sounds cool, but really is this going to help me get to my goals?
Absolutely, man. I think I think of a story that I read in a book once, and he said, I don't remember the exact details of the story, but it basically went along the lines of this. There was a world-class pianist, right? The person that plays the piano. And he was locked up in jail for, I don't know, say 8 years, right? And he didn't have a piano to practice on. What he did was he played the piano in his mind every single day. And so when he got out of prison, like he didn't miss a beat. His skills didn't deteriorate because he practiced in his mind. In fact, there are even things like when somebody is starting to lift muscles and they do an A and B test, they have like a regular trial, and then they have a trial that they get to experiment on. The person that they gave mental training to, hey, imagine yourself lifting the heavy weight off your body. Imagine yourself doing those curls. That person was stronger and bigger than subject A who did the exact same exercise. So I think our brain has a very tough time to distinguish the difference between what's imagined in our mind and what is reality. And you could literally, for example, there's some guys who suffer with approach anxiety, right? So they go out, they can't say hi, they can't socially say hi to somebody. My question on that is, hey man, how many times have you sat down, close your eyes, and visualize yourself approaching people when you're out? And they'll say zero. And then how many times have you done it in public? They'll say maybe 30 minutes in the last 8 months. If they had just sat on their couch, it's not real as for us as we see it in reality, but in their mind it's real. So if they close their eyes and they worked on having the courage to step to somebody and let them know what they thought, they would have so much more drastic results out in reality if they had just practiced in their mind. So, man, I think being in a good state, even when you're on sales calls, being operating from a state of courage, because the people that are coming on a call with you, they usually are lacking something, hence why they're on a call with you. So I think if I sit there as a salesperson and really hold their hand and tell them, hey, I'm leading this conversation to this direction, not as a power thing, but as a leadership thing, because they come to me for answers. And you hold their hand and you're operating from a place of courage and not a lower state like, greed or desire or anything like that. I think one would have it would have drastic outcomes.
Yeah, like acknowledging your purpose on the goal. Yeah, man. You know, when you were given the examples of the individuals who get better results from training where they're using like weights and no mental training, no mental performance training versus the people who would use weights and mental performance training. A book that came to mind, two books that everybody should really read. Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself by Joe Dispenza. He talks a lot about the benefits of visualization, meditation, and other forms of identity or mental performance training, and also Psycho-Cybernetics. Classic book. I believe it was written in the 50s. Correct me if I'm wrong on that. And in Psycho-Cybernetics, Dr. Maxwell Maltz is the first person who I believe coined the term self-image as being an operative term. So he was a plastic surgeon who realized that he would have patients that would come to him for plastic surgery to repair damage done to them from like a tragic accident, for example. And then he realized that there would be patients that would come to him as plastic surgery as an idea in society to consumers became more of a normal idea that one could even get plastic surgery, he found that of the patients referred to him from like a doctor or someone who's past the recovery of an accident stage and looking to get into their full rehabilitation, the surgeon who helped them with the recovery phase after an accident would then say, okay, the last thing that you need is just a little bit of plastic surgery to maybe repair part of the face from the severe burn or whatever laceration may have occurred or something like that. He found that as plastic surgery became popularized, there were individuals that would come to him seeking an improvement surgery for flaws that didn't exist objectively. And this guy, rather than being a greedy plastic surgeon and just taking advantage of every patient who expressed a desire to spend money with him and get a surgery, he would actually sit down with them, take a photo of their face, and draw lines, show them the symmetry, so show them their facial harmony, and say, listen, you're not only do you not have this defect that you think you have, but your face is actually attractive according to these types of mathematics, and basically geometry. And these people he eventually found that what they saw when they looked in the mirror was a distorted image, separate and different from the real image that other people would see when they would look at these individuals. So then he realized that a self-image is a concrete thing. It is how you see yourself, literally in the mirror and also in your mind. And that the self-image is fixed. So when it comes to identity training, really what it is this. You have to realize that the way you see yourself, think, and feel about yourself is fixed. And when we're talking about your fixed self-perception, we're talking about identity. And your identity belongs to a cluster of other mental processes or attributes called the self-concept. In that cluster, you have identity, psychology, self-confidence, self-esteem, self-image, self-talk. And the combination of these things is sort of a network, and they govern how the brain works, thinks, sees, and feels. And basically, it's a package of beliefs. And what happens for most individuals is their self concept has come to be based on their conditioning, perhaps how their mother and father raised them, the experiences they had, early in life throughout school and along their arc, developing toward adulthood. By the time they become an adult out in the world, they have a whole self concept that's been put together by chance, basically, meaning they did not intentionally develop the self concept in a way that would make them most empowered to enjoy and succeed in their life. But what I want people to understand, because this is still not this is not common knowledge. I want people to understand that, listen, your identity is fixed, but it is within your control. It is not fluid on a moment to moment basis because the self concept and the identity, again, is the end product of a web or system of beliefs that all work together. And you can reprogram your identity. You can reprogram your self concept. I literally do mean that if you're a man and you're on the shorter end of the spectrum and you're less classically handsome in the face by way of your facial features, maybe you don't have the best, objectively speaking, maybe you don't have the most robust hair. Maybe you don't have the best genetics that make you just jacked for no reason. You know what I'm saying? Maybe you don't have the best voice and nice deep masculine voice. These things could be true objectively, but here's the beautiful thing. Your self-concept, your identity, the way you see yourself, think, and feel about yourself, that is not objective. It is subjective and in your control. So you cannot control how others perceive you, but you can control how you perceive yourself. And you should absolutely take advantage of that. You should fully exploit the fact that your identity and self-concept is influenceable, and through self-suggestion, you can train your self-concept to be exactly what it needs to be for you to enjoy your life, to be happier, more confident, and to produce better results when you take actions in the world. So if you are a man and you objectively don't have the most desirable of traits, you can absolutely train your mind and those collection, that cluster, that web of beliefs, so that they are aligned and that they become developed in a way that when you look in the mirror, you feel handsome. You see yourself as more handsome than you might be objectively. You can like your voice. You can believe that your height is attractive for no subjective reason without needing to justify it. Because a belief is a thought that you basically think a lot. A belief is a thought that you think a lot. So by training your mind, you can control your self perception, and that will absolutely impact the way that you feel and experience your life, which is the most important thing, but also how other people respond to you. Because at first, and I've heard this from a lot of women, um, even my son's mother, like there was a time where she told me when she first saw me, she wasn't necessarily attracted to me, but after meeting me, she became intensely attracted. And I know what she means because I've heard a lot of women say that. They'll say, yeah, at first glance, I mean, you were good looking and everything, but I wasn't like, like super into you. And it's because I'm of average height and relatively normal looking, handsome in the face, but otherwise I'm a relatively average man. So I get it. I don't stand out like in a row of 100 men. I don't stand out as some like Chris Hemsworth type of attractive guy. But because of the way that I've trained my self concept, the way they respond to me after meeting me is powerful. You see what I'm saying? It's attractive thereafter because of the vibe, the charisma, the enthusiasm, and how my self-concept informs my own aura, vibe, feelings, thoughts, behaviors. It influences and creates a bit of a self-fulfilling prophecy. So if you think that you are unattractive or not well equipped to succeed and achieve your goals, it creates a self-fulfilling prophecy or a feedback loop, which then makes that outcome more likely. But if you think that you are worthy of your goals and are likely to succeed, it won't guarantee success, but it creates a positive feedback loop supporting the success. So you should absolutely exploit the fact that your identity and self-concept is malleable and take full advantage of it. It's one of the things that you have access to that is free. No one can take it away from you, and it is largely within your control. So before we break down the mechanics of the pyramid theory, Gurinder, you want to add any more contribution to that? I know my spiel was long-winded, but from your perspective, you know what I mean? Like, what have you found to be the beneficial and rewarding aspects of working on your identity and self-concept, and how has that improved your life?
There's a saying, um, being successful or being a winner means going from experience to experience, loss to loss, without losing any enthusiasm. There are certain boxers or fighters that we see, and we could name some examples, who will lose a fight and their entire career will crumble. They're never the same fighter as they once should have been or could have been. But there are some fighters, and then there's some fighters that win and they just keep on winning and they just become the greatest of all time. Just because for some reason you'll train, you'll have a fight. If you win that fight, you'll be like one standard deviation better than you were before the fight. There's something just happens when everything just kind of clicks together. But based on what you're saying and what Maxwell Maltz was saying, the guy that wrote Psycho-Cybernetics, he said you could train that in your mind. Like there are certain, if you go through a loss, but it's not a loss in your mind, all it was is a learning experience, and you're super excited that you had the opportunity to be part of that learning experience, you could feel the same dopamine rush, or at least close to the same dopamine rush as the guy that actually won. And you reprogram your brain thinking that oh wow, I picked up so many things from this exercise or that match that I just had. So you could still create that same feedback loop, positive feedback loop in your mind, and still get the same incremental gains that the person actually won the fight had gotten. So yeah, man, that's one of the biggest things. Also, you're talking about aura by standing in a line of 100 men. You don't necessarily stand out. But I think sometimes women can't really describe when they say aura. It's the energy that you bring. Maybe they are now able to pick up on it, and most people aren't able to pick up on it. But it's the energy. There are certain guys who do extremely well in life who say, hey, look, if he went back to zero again, what the first thing he would do is he would get around successful people. Won't necessarily talk to them, won't pitch them any business ideas, just get around them. Because there's a certain type of energy those, quote, successful people have that is permeating in the air. And you just want to pick up on that energy. So even like the places that you live, I think is huge. The place where it's where you live, right? If in an environment that's not very inspiring, you should probably get up and leave and go to a place that is inspiring by looking at the lights, looking at the success. It's not necessarily always about money, but looking at the things that have been built because you'll get that energy inside of you in those high energy places.
Yeah, man. But on a quick side note, bro, drop some more game on that because a lot of people, I think you have a lot of like legitimately practicable or applicable insight to add to that. I've never met anybody who truly takes advantage of leveraging your network and your environment the way that you have. And to give everybody a little context about why I'm saying that, when you and I first met, you're living in Vancouver, all right, you have a business, and when you looked at your magnum opus desired reality and selected goals for yourself, okay, you envisioned a certain lifestyle, right? You envisioned a certain self, you envisioned certain relationships, and and I don't want to like do your explanation for you, but can you talk people through, okay, you're there in Vancouver, you get your vision for what you want your life to become, the transformation that you want of your reality. What did you leverage that helped you the most in achieving that, but also shortcutting the time that it would have taken otherwise?
Man, very simple, man. There are people who have gone before me and went through the pain of acquiring a certain level of knowledge about a certain topic. My attitude is, oh, why don't I just tap into those people and just take all the good out of them and I don't have to suffer like they suffered. Now, I'm sure there's still suffering involved. Obviously, there is, right, in business or in the game, whatever the case is. But I was very clear in what I wanted, man. I've always surrounded myself with guys who are where I want to be for that particular area. And I just listened. One thing I am is I'm very coachable. Ego, I'm sure I have some ego, you know. Um, but if I allow somebody in my if I allow them a secret word the key word being allow somebody to have that leadership role in that particular area that I want to get good at, I will listen to them wholeheartedly. There's no restraints. I will not argue with anything. I'll ask questions, sure, for clarification purposes, but I don't argue and I'll just do what I'm told if I'm looking to achieve a certain type of outcome, right? And I think taking it a little bit to religion, right? There's a fun little story, and I love this story, and I'll bring it up till the day I die. There was a guy on a boat, and anyways, he ended up getting in the water, boat flipped over, and he was praying to God, God, please save me, I'm gonna die. And a big boat comes with a life jacket and everything, and then he's like to the guy, hey man, you're drowning, here's a life jacket. He's like, no, no, I don't want your help, God's gonna help me. And the guy in the boat is looking at him like, what the hell's going on? Two other boats pass by, and the guy drowns and dies. And he goes up to heaven and he asks God, he's like, God, I yelled, I cried for you. I needed help. I was drowning. And he said, but I sent three people. What the hell are you talking about? So I think a lot of times as we pray, we have to be open to seeing what God has brought into our lives, right? And taking those opportunities and really making them yours, right? And I've been blessed. I've been extremely grateful for the position that I'm in. And even though sometimes it doesn't look like I was always winning, and sometimes I'm not, quote, winning if you look on the outside looking in, but how I felt, man, how grateful I was, I've always felt like I was winning. And in fact, to add to that, One thing you said to me years ago, you're like, when you, Cameron, look outside your window, all you see is opportunity. I kind of logically understood what you meant. But man, when I started looking at my life, like everything was happening for me, nothing was happening at me, nothing was happening to me. And it's new for me. So I'm still like, even though I've been part of self-development, that phrasing is that phraseology is new because sometimes I look at certain people, I'm like, damn, why didn't I have that? You know what I'm saying? I'm like, damn, I'm 33. I should have had that by now. Versus looking at things like, wow, that person, for example, Cameron, you will never have the same opportunity I have because you never had somebody like you teaching you the game. A lot of stuff you had to trial and error and test and spend a whole bunch of time out spending money, wasting time, and losing a bunch of sleep. I just don't have to necessarily go through that. So you'll never be in the same position that I'm in. Same goes with money. Same goes with anything, man. Self-actualization, um, your health. You know, I don't have to go through a certain heart condition or whatever the case is, a heart attack, to realize how valuable my health is. I just have to listen to stories. Oh, that person had a heart issue. Okay. And what did he do after that? Oh, he started eating whole grains, whole foods, whatever the case is. I'll just adopt that personality. So that's some game on that, man. And I want to touch back on what you said about Joe Dispenza. I'm gonna try to get that book that you're talking about. In fact, I have the book Psycho-Cybernetics sitting on my top shelf over there. Read it every day. You know what I'm saying? It's been as close to the Bible as I can get. So I'm grateful for that.
Yeah, man. Um, the key, so for the note takers, the key takeaways, I think, and tell me if you think this is safe to say, Gurinder, but I think probably if you're a man of any age and you're looking to produce a transformative result in your life for your entire magnum opus reality or just even one area, I think the fastest, most efficient way to best ensure that you achieve the outcome that you desire is to identify a person or perhaps a network of people and what's the word that I'm looking for? Fellowship with them. Get around the winners, the men who are winning in that domain. If you're a man looking for better outcomes in your dating and relationship life romantically, find some men winning romantically, get around those men, right? That could be hiring a coach. It could be joining a community. All right. It could be figuring out the top 5 to 10 influencers online that just talk about the subject on a regular basis. If you don't have capital to invest, but do that. You know what I mean? That's what I was doing when I was coming up in the game. Great point you mentioned, man. I'm envious of you guys sometimes, bro, because I learned the game and self development, more so the game. Self development was well mapped out, but I learned the game from trial and error, bro. Like, I sometimes tell you, I'm like, people often make the comment when they see me out in field, oh yeah, Cameron doesn't give a fuck. And it's like, nah, bro. I do. Um, I am so numb to rejection because I have been rejected thousands of times. And when I started, I didn't know what I was doing. And I had a severe deficiency in my self-concept, just based on the trauma that I went through growing up. So by the time I'm a man out introducing myself to women, displaying some romantic interest to them, bro, I would have women look at me dead in the face and just go, I'm not interested. I'm not attracted to you. You know what I'm saying? Because back in the day when I would go, hey, excuse me, like I'm at a bar, 21 years old. I walk up to a girl, excuse me, I thought you and your friend looked really nice, and I just wanted to come over here and introduce myself to you. Look at me, dead in the eyes. Thank you. We're not attracted to you. You know what I'm saying? I've experienced that.
Wait, hold on. They had
Yeah,
to make a they had to they had to let it sting you so you would never do it again to another woman.
a
That's
hundred
actually
percent.
cold. That's cold.
And the thing is, when I was trying to learn the game, like I never was gonna go the route of doing indirection. Like it's not my personality. I'm too direct of a person. I'm too like, you know what I mean? I don't do indirect opens. Not that that doesn't work per se, but it's just it is not a fit for me, which is the thing. You have to find out what works, what kind of style works for you in the game. And for me, I like things to be straightforward. It's kind of how I handle everything. So even when I knew my game was not good, right? I wasn't gonna ever memorize no damn scripts and walk up to a female and like start and do a situational opener. You know what I'm talking about? The things that kind of decrease the odds of them directly rejecting you because you're being indirect. Like I'm never gonna ask a bitch for directions to segue into a conversation with her. So yeah, bro. When I say I've been rejected at scale, I mean at scale. You dig? I started getting rejected in Statesboro when I embarked on my journey in the game. Savannah, Georgia, Statesboro, Georgia, Atlanta, Georgia. Or when I talk about my journey in the game, it's best framed as the path of rejection to then getting not rejected to then getting results. So I moved around and traveled a lot in the first part of my journey because, and bro, okay, so I start in Statesboro. Um, I start by approaching girls at my local college campus, Georgia Southern University there, and doing the self-development, all the stuff. Then would shoot over to Savannah, about an hour away, a little bigger of a city, a little more tourist action going on. Try my campaigning over there. I'd sometimes go up to Atlanta. Then I moved to Orlando, Florida. Boom. Now I'm really approaching. I'm going out sometimes 5 to 7 days or nights a week at the University of Central Florida. If you've ever been down there, dope university. But Knights Pub, Knights Library, around UCF, and then also and the station, and then also downtown around Lake Eola on North Orange Avenue, the main strip of bars, Wall Street, and everything along North Orange. Where I'm going to Tier Nightclub. Oh no, if you know, you know. That's why I'm dropping the names, for the people who can resonate. But Tier Nightclub, Oh no, Vice, um, Wall Street, all the bars up in there, and shit. I'm even hitting the Lake Eola Farmers Market on Saturday mornings. You know what I'm saying? Rejection at scale, homie. And I'm gonna tie this back into the attitude of a winner in a second. I did my first immersion in Orlando. So the year is 2015, right? I moved to Orlando in January 2015. And I stayed there for 6 months before getting a job opportunity to relocate to Las Vegas, which I took because I wanted to get around these high level self development speakers and game coaches. But in the interim, I'm down there in Orlando and I'm just watching YouTube videos, reading books, and going out learning by trial and error, bro. I did my first ever immersion, 30 days, full blown holistic immersion. Wake up in the morning, tidy up the place. So it's like me, my cousin Elliot, and our homie Rob. Okay, the notorious Rob. Um, Wake up in the morning, tidy up the place, shower, get dressed, do bioenergetics, visualization, gratitude, affirmations using the mirror technique, do a meditation, then go work our 9 to 5, get off, all link up at the apartment, go to the gym, work out for 45 minutes, come back, make a healthy dinner, shower again, do another set of visualization, gratitude, affirmations, and some meditation. Get fly, our version of that back then, and then sorry, I don't like my screen, and then go out and campaign somewhere downtown or downtown by Lake Eola, or go over to UCF, right? But 7 days a week, we're going somewhere. Sometimes even the House of Blues at Disney World. But so we're 21 years old, and this is our daily rhythm, so to speak. This is our operating system for how we're trying to learn self-development, get better results in the game, and learn how to make more money, right? Just 21-year-old men trying to work hard and do it the honest way, not doing the clavicular bullshit, not trying to figure out how to make money so we can trick on women, but trying to get some real game and learn how to create natural attraction and desire with women. You know what I'm saying? A very honest goal that we had, and we wanted to maintain integrity to that. So, bro, I did my first ever immersion, 30 days. of doing that exact self-development routine, no shortcuts. I didn't pull, I think, yeah, nah, we didn't pull anyone home. Like, you know what I'm saying? And we were going out day game and night game on the weekends. And like, and dude, that was that. And, but here's the thing, Gurinder. If you would have met me back then, do you think that you would have gotten the impression that I was like going through some miserable trial and error experience? Or what do you think my attitude would have been like?
I thought you would have, by the way, I made a comment on 30 days you went out and you never pulled anyone home.
Yeah.
That's probably statistically impossible. No offense. Looking at it now, from my perspective, I want you to dive into that. What you thought was a reason. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Come on, sometimes you gotta lay down. You just happen to
Yeah.
approach the right woman at the right time. So I want you to touch on that. But no, man, like it really goes to show, like one thing I always give you a comment on, like you don't care, right? When you go out, you know, you're kind of just like you do what you want, and everybody better get out the way, right? And obviously you're smart about it. You're not just running around just offending people or anything like that. And you don't do that, but you really don't care what other people think about you at all. And I've never met anybody like that. Maybe one person, right? So when I actually enjoy listening to these tech kind of stories because I mean, if your confidence was, my confidence is never that low. You know what I'm saying? Because I've done self-development and you know I had a reasonable self-image, a good self-image. So when I hear about your story, how low you were and how
Yeah.
high you've come, it's a completely polar opposite. So, and you know, I don't really believe in that, by the way. I only believe in if you have a scale of 1 to 10, you could only improve by 3 points. So if somebody's born, for example, in confidence or through their environment, a 4, they can only go up to probably a 7. But if you're explaining your self-confidence, you're probably a 2 or maybe a 3. You went all the way up to a 10 because I've seen what it is, what you do. So it really goes to show that the brain could really morph and change as
Exactly.
aggressively as you want it to. And it doesn't have to take 10 years. It could take 90 days.
Let's dig into this. There's actually value in this. The way you're framing it is actually excellent. Listen, man.
I'm a
So
genius.
a couple of things. Like comparatively, when you got into the game, you're like an older man, right? Like you have more going for yourself. You more money, more sophisticated, more articulate, more wise. You know what I mean? More confident. I'm 21 years old. You dig what I'm saying? So there's that. There's that. But then I was what we call a hard case, though. And this is kind of what you're alluding to is like, where were you at if we had to rate me on a scale of 1 to 10? And this is the thing, man. I really want to actually pay some particular attention to this and then derive exactly the methodologies that I used to reach a 10 and to just convey how real this is, man. But when people today meet me, when they see me in my content, when they meet me in person, if they get that privilege and they actually see the results that I really get in real life, um, it's I know that they don't believe me when I tell them where I started. You know what I'm saying? I know that they don't believe me because and I get that, right? Like you look at the results I get, or even just how I carry myself, I think, and you're like, no fucking way that guy was like that insecure and that like his confidence was that low. Let me convey it for a second without being long-winded. Listen, so I made it out of my hometown of Statesboro, Georgia, at in 2015, right? That was I enrolled, I transitioned from on-campus courses at Georgia Southern University to online. I got my refund check, okay, from the what's that grant called? Like you get there's a certain grant you get for being like low income in Georgia, like the Pell Grant, I think. Anyway, I got like a couple $1,000s. I use it, boom, I dropped the whole thing on rent. Me, Rob, and Elliot moved into this relatively nice apartment, unfurnished, into right there on North Orange Avenue, downtown Orlando. And unfurnished in the sense that like when we moved in there, our furniture amounted to like 2 air mattresses and a yoga mat in the living room. You know what I'm saying? But we were making the dream work. And listen, when I made it down there, the amount of approach anxiety that I had, I'm trying to figure out how to convey with concrete examples where my confidence was. I want to say something too. This goes without saying. I've always been handsome. You know what I'm saying? This is why the looks maxing shit is bullshit. But not that there's no validity to it, but like it's not like I have become more handsome over time. Okay, so boom, 2015, move into downtown Orlando. I wrote my goal. I actually wrote a visualization because I read Unlimited Power by Anthony Robbins, and he talked about exactly how to write or create a compelling vision for the future. He gives you a 12-step process for writing it. Highly recommend that book and that actual exercise to everybody listening. But I did that. I ride the Greyhound bus from Statesboro to Orlando, and then my cousin Elliot picked me up from the Greyhound. On the Greyhound, with this huge Lacoste old duffel bag full of what was basically my possessions, you know what I mean? Which was some books, some notebooks, some shit for college, an old Asus laptop, and whatever clothing I had, and that was it, man. And I even had some pots and pans in there, right? So I'm catching the Greyhound from Savannah, Georgia to Orlando, and the whole time I'm on the Greyhound, I'm reading Unlimited Power. It's like a 10-hour long ride because it's a Greyhound. They make all the stops, and I'm writing the exercise, create a compelling vision for the future. And I write in everything, how I want to look physically, what I want to feel like on the inside, what I want my career to be, how much money I want to make, abundance with women, my social network of other male friends, iron sharpens iron kind of thing. Writing this whole reality. It's a big vision. It's well thought out. It's precise. And reasonable too. It wasn't like nothing it wasn't anything like delusional. You know what I mean? Like the outcomes that I was looking to achieve. And all right, boom. So I get there, I touch down, I'm hella excited. I'm ready to go because now I'm in Orlando and Statesboro, Georgia is like a 6,000 person town minus the kids that are on the campus, right? The local population is very small. So reading all these books, watching like real social dynamics videos online and seeing these guys doing this whole pickup thing and all this stuff is like not something that's implementable in a city like Statesboro or even Savannah for that fact. So Orlando was like a new beginning and like me truly striking out in the world as a man, 2015, just turned 21, and I'm now in a city where I can compete for jobs, a career, I can get out and socially network, and I can actually go out and campaign and meet women and like learn this game thing. Okay. My confidence is so low. You're supposed to go out and they'll tell you how to like do a warm up where you go out and you open some girls, you park in the parking lot of a bar. And if you see any people, you say, "What's up, bro? Yo, nice shoes. Yo, nice hat, man. Hey, you have a nice dress on," to the lady or whatever, right? Warming up. I couldn't do it. So I would awkwardly, you know, and it's got to be weird to think, man, because like I'm a good dresser and I'm handsome. I'm in fantastic shape back then, right? And like I had commercial modeling contracts at this time. So when I say I'm handsome, I mean that's like objective. Like I had modeling contracts and shit. I know I'm handsome, and my confidence was still in the gutter because of how much trauma and abuse I suffered in my childhood, right? Because like I said earlier, the self-concept is typically developed by happen chance rather than intention, right? So I was so abused and treated so poorly throughout my childhood that my identity, the hits to the self-esteem, is why my self-esteem was so like in the gutter. So anyway, boom. Well, like an example would be we go to a bar, I awkwardly kind of walk in line. I know that I'm supposed to be saying, "Hey, what's up?" to these like cool group of cool looking dudes and like a couple of pretty girls, maybe a couple of guys. Well, I can't say hi to anybody, bro. You know what I mean? And but I am dressing as good as I can. I look as good as I can. So I'd wait in line at the bar. You see everybody having fun, and you just feel like this alienation, like this separateness. Like these people are living a reality where they're carefree and having fun, and they're experiencing some level of joy that like I'm not experiencing. You know what I'm saying? And in my reality, I feel very anxious, very closed, very negative about myself. I think everyone's looking at me and judging me, when in reality, probably nobody even really noticed me. And this is what's happening. There's like a level of mental torment and like emotional anxiety that manifests physically in my body, right? So I'm tense. and make it inside. Get inside, bro. Like I'm nervous going up to the bouncer to show my ID. You know what I'm saying? I'm like thinking like, should I dap him up? Like I'm having these conversations like, should I dap him up? Oh no, that wouldn't be cool. Like, no, that wouldn't be cool, man. Like, no, just don't say anything. And, just say the head nod. Bro, I'm like, you know what I mean? This is where I'm at with it, bro. I go inside, bro, and like it's a popular college bar, so there's a whole bunch of like people around our age there. And I remember like having a mental dialogue with myself about like, all right, I'm not gonna go stand in line for the bathroom right now. There's a lot of people, and it was like too anxiety provoking to even stand in line and wait for the bathroom. You dig? Like I swear, bro, this is where I'm at with it. If I wanted to get a drink, like I'm nervous at the bar, okay, standing in line, waiting to get a drink. If someone cuts in front of me, I don't have the confidence to say anything. If I'm standing at the bar, I just put the cash in my hand and hold it out and like what hope that they actually come out of their way. But I see people, uh CAD type dude leans over, yo, can I get 2 trash cans? And I'm like, man, I've been standing this like right here for fucking 15 minutes. And this motherfucker gets the drink. You know what I mean? And it's just like this is where I'm at with it, bro. So I'm supposed to do 10 approaches. I'm actually at this point pretty much giving you an actual night that happened. But the goal tonight is just 10 approaches, man. Walk up to 10 girls, approach with intention. That's the goal. And like, dude, I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it. And I couldn't do it. I ended up having a couple of drinks, getting basically drunk, and then like, yeah, like no bullshit. I'm way too nervous. I'm a professional dancer. I want to say at this time, I'm a professional ballet, contemporary, and hip hop dancer. Like I've been in commercials and shit. But because of the social environment, I can't even dance. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like I can't even get on the dance floor when they play like what's the old throwback song? Like swag surfing. And like which I can kill, but like I just can't do it, bro. You know what I mean? I'm so embarrassed. I just feel this humiliation for like no reason. This is where I'm at mentally, bro. So I the night ends and I'm just standing there and like you have this dialogue where you're telling yourself, okay, no, 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 on the next song, I'm gonna go dance and like work my way behind a girl and try to get a dance. Or then the song goes and you're sitting there listening to the whole thing and you're like standing there with your drink and you're like debating with yourself, like leaning forward and back. And then all right, no, no, just wait a second. All right, when this guy moves, then I'm gonna step in and I'm gonna start dancing. And then like I just never do it, bro. I'm in like this paralysis of foot on the gas, foot on the brake. You know what I'm saying? You feel this inner conflict, which is contributing to the stress, right? So as the night's going on, even though I'm getting drunker, I'm also becoming like somehow more rigid. You know what I mean? Because there's a compound effect. I call it excuse making momentum.
That's right. That's right. Compound
100%.
effect. Yes.
There is a like if you go in there, the thing about warming up is it works neurologically because you start engaging pathways where you get momentum and reinforcement behind just the action, even if you don't get like a positive result from the action itself begets a feedback loop. So I'm in excuse making momentum and self rejection momentum, and it's solid. You dig what I'm saying? And the night ends, right? And then I'm like, all right. At a certain point, I tell myself, you know what? Hey, fuck it, bro. Like the club's about to end anyway. What we're gonna do? Let's just go ahead and go outside. And as people are coming out, boom, we'll do some parking lot pimping. You know what I mean? Like we'll do some parking lot game. I'll get my opens in as girls are walking out. And then you tell yourself dumb shit like they'll be able to hear you better anyway. You know what I mean? Like stuff like that. You start
Of course.
like trying to give yourself angles to justify the bullshit. And then like so then I'm standing outside 30 minutes before the bar ends and boom. And then like you're just looking from the parking lot, right? Tipsy, sweating in the middle of the summer at one of the most poppin' colleges in America. And you're looking inside and you see dudes dancing with girls. You hear girls, woo! You see dudes fucking having the time of their life. It looks like a fucking movie, bro. Like, you know what I mean? Like the fun, the atmosphere. That's what it looked like, American Pie or something, but in real life. And man, you're just like, damn it. You know what I mean? Like you're just like, damn. And I can't engage in this. Like I want to be a part of the fun. I just want to be normal. Like you know what I'm saying? And I just can't. So you're watching it, and then they start doing the last call. Everybody's leaving the bar, getting ready to go. Fucking, you hear people walking out talking about, oh, yo, after party at John's, shit. And then you're like, damn, then nobody invite me to after party. You know what I mean? And then like, fuck, bro. And then like some people are like, oh, no, bro, we're gonna go to fucking Waffle House. And then like I feel like I'm not even cool enough to go to the damn Waffle House. So like, this is what I'm watching. And then like as everybody's leaving and like dudes are walking out with girls, one douchebag's like hurry up, Cynthia, and like the girls like scurry behind him, hoping they don't get left by Chad. And like I'm just observing this shit, bro. Like damn, man, like nobody even notices me. You know what I'm saying? And dude, that night, I get in the car with Elliot and Rob. I waited until this is my commitment. I waited until the very end, and I just kept telling myself, all right, you're going to approach in a second after X, Y, and Z happens. Eventually, everybody's in their cars and everybody's leaving, and then like the security themselves start telling people to like leave the property. That's when I leave. And then, dude, I just got in the car, bro, and like, what? We got in the car. We have our drive back to downtown, so it's like a 35-minute drive, right? At fucking 2:45 a.m. So the whole night, like nothing happened except me building excuse making momentum and self rejection momentum. And like, I think we played like an old Real Social Dynamics video. And I just remember like sort of driving down the highway, like just quietly shedding a few tears. You know what I'm saying? And just like, you know what I mean? Like I was just frustration and like, is this really gonna happen for me? You know what I mean? And that's where I was at with it, bro. And what I did to work out of that and see when you understand that that's where I was at with it, then and you see my results now, you're like, yeah, this dude went from like a 1, 2 to like 10. Like no bullshit.
I know.
It's the things that I teach in the program. It's the things that I say. I have not gotten any taller or better looking,
Yeah.
but my self development, my game has improved dramatically. And before we carry on to the methodology, which we'll break down for everybody, yeah, that was a lot of talking for me, but yeah,
No, I know, but I want to share something, man. Like, I'm sure most guys have gone through that situation at some level. And some of them just say, okay, this is my life.
yeah,
And they'll meet a girl at chemistry class. And if they had their pick of the litter, like if you want to put it that way, and they could choose the girl that they really want to be with, the girl they're married with wouldn't be the first choice. It just happens to be, hey, by proximity. And if when you ask a lot of these men and women, oh, how do you meet your significant other? Oh, I actually went to school with him, or I met him at the gym, or things like that. It's usually because they're all around each other a lot. But if guys really had a choice, man, where they could just take a pill and just be as confident as possible, all that means is just have no self-doubt. They don't doubt themselves at all. And one time we had a conversation where I was like, oh, we're talking about high value. You're like, dude, like guys who are really good at the game, they don't even think like that. They don't think high value, low value. They don't care about that. They don't need to bring any value to get in a relationship with the woman that they want. They're just them. That's it. They're living on a different plane. And I really sat down and thought about that. I'm like, yeah. So a lot of these guys, we all went through the same situation, but there's a handful of guys who really just seek out, be like, nah, man, they have this like superiority complex. Like, no, I'm better than most people, man. I deserve more. But those are the guys that really look out and go find the answer that they're looking for. But it's too bad that the game that you're spitting is so it's few and far between, man. Like a lot of people just don't understand this. And a lot of the guys who really got it aren't really out there. They're like, oh, I'm gonna sell you a $4.99 course. Come sign up for it. Because they just don't have that savviness.
yeah,
So yeah, man, I think you're doing a really good thing, bro. Like honestly, talking about this stuff because there are guys right now who are flying to Turkey to get their legs extended to be taller, and not realizing that it'll.
yeah,
They tell them it's gonna take 6 months before you're walking normally. No, probably 2, 3, maybe 4 years, or maybe never, because they're physiology will never be used to that because you literally are stretching a bone that cannot be stretched. And they'll be going through metal detectors their entire life, whatever the case is, right?
Crazy.
But not even that, man. But you'll get, okay, fine, you get your legs extended. You get the hair transplant. And you get your thing never ends because they got this idea in their mind where they think look themselves as alpha Chad. If I keep changing my body, I'll eventually arrive there. But the goalpost will always move, so they'll never get there. And those guys will live a miserable life. So all I want, really all I want, man. Yeah, you talk about the game, like the true value in the game is happiness. That's great. But really what I want is have no self-doubt ever. And never, and that also includes like when I look at the world, I just look at the world as everything is for me, nothing is against me. Wow. Like I was walking my area, I live in a nice area here, and I was looking at the trees, I was looking at the grass. I'm like, wow, all this was created for me to walk here right now. How beautiful is that? And that's a more empowering way to view the world than being like, I'm just existing. I never want to live like that.
Yeah.
Mic drop.
Self-confidence is the removal of self-doubt, right? Let me even expand on that. I I don't mean this medically. I define mental illness as the mental state of wishing that you weren't you. That is the epitome of ill mental health. You wish you weren't you. And the self concept work, the identity work, what we mean when we say confidence, what are you really trying to arrive at? With like clavicular and the looks maxing community, and with most of the red pill and the manosphere, they are selling you on methodologies to make modifications to yourself so that you can, in a compensatory way, become good enough for a woman. That's their mindset. I believe in core confidence,
Mm,
and all the work we do really is about getting you to a position mentally and internally where you actually arrive at this place where you, who you are, overwhelms you, overflows you with satisfaction, contentment, peace, joy, confidence, inner congruence with self. You see what I'm saying? Getting to the place to where I am so accepting of and loving of myself that that becomes the place where I draw state from within. And then from the power of drawing state from within, based on congruence with your true self, is the greatest source of full fuel that you can tap into because it's about alignment between your mind, your heart, your gut, your spirit. It's about alignment with the truth. And then your charisma, your enthusiasm, your excitement, your confidence, your motivation, your drive becomes inexhaustible. There is no longer a desire to avoid rejection because you approve of and accept you.
mm,
You see what I'm saying? There's no validation to be sought after because the validation has already been satiated. There's no need to compensate for a woman with money or tangibles or for being taller because I'm so content with myself and approving of myself that even if a woman, let's say I'm not tall enough for a woman, it's like it has no impact. Like, okay, bet, campaign on. It has no impact. You see what I'm saying? Nothing can happen that will actually bring me into a state where I doubt myself.
Mm.
That's what you keep like coming back to. And once you get to the place where even rejection based on who you are cannot make you doubt yourself, you've arrived. You see what I'm saying? Because now
No,
nothing can disempower you.
absolutely. And that goes for all vectors of life.
Yeah,
M- Client tells you to piss off, be like, we're not working together. Okay. And all
bet.
you take it as even afterwards, well, what can I learn from it? And then just move on. Nothing personal. Even like you're talking, a woman rejects you. What could I have done better? Nah, she was just a bitch. Move on. But maybe sometimes you sit back and be like, nah, I approached her the wrong way. I was too aggressive.
Right,
Change, move on. But
right.
it's just feedback loops, tighter and tighter.
This and the subtlety is that like I'm highly perceptive of feedback. Make no mistake about it. That's another reason I reject the notion that I don't care. I do definitely care and am highly aware. It just doesn't have any impact on my self-esteem. You see what I'm saying?
Wow.
My self-esteem is so complete that I can receive criticism, negative feedback, and rejection and acknowledge that I may have done something wrong and make the correction without it impacting my self-esteem. And I don't think guys understand that that's possible. You know what I mean? Anyway, that's a beautiful place to be because now, like when I go out, I don't need to approach in a way where like my interactions go well.
Exactly.
I can experiment. I can play. And the like whether or not a woman gives me a certain type of feedback is not going to impact my relationship with myself. You see what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
that's what we mean when we say independent completion, right? And then the next step up from there is to synergize and harmonize with a woman who is on her path toward feminine self mastery. And then you can enter the God creator state and bring from conception to birth things into existence, your children, but other things as well. Two individuals synergistically intertwined, fueling each other in an upward spiral. You see what I'm saying? But notice what it's not. It's not finding a woman who accepts of me. It's not finding a woman who validates me. You see what I'm saying?
Mm.
It's finding a woman that I am in harmony with, but never having approached her seeking completion. Two complete individuals coming into synergy. You see what I'm saying?
Hmm.
And that's how I look at the game. So like rejection doesn't mean anything to me about me. Now it may mean something about the way that I executed a certain approach or the way that I responded to something in an interaction, and I will absolutely take that feedback. But it doesn't mean anything about me, who I am, Kameron Devon Crew. I know who I am, and I like the person that I am. And if I decide to make a modification to my personality or behavior, I do that because I want to, but it's not coming from a place where like I hate myself, right? Or wish that I wasn't me. And then that's the thing. Like money, when I make more money, it doesn't improve my confidence. You know what I mean? And you've seen this, right? Like that type of shit, like being in a nicer suit does not improve my confidence. You know what I mean? And that's where you want to get. So anyway, fucking awesome episode, guys. But let's do wrap up with the promise, which is we're gonna break down the pyramid theory and then we'll wrap it up. But I think y'all soaked up a lot of ism from the episode and the storytelling. So one thing is, Grinder, earlier you made a comment that one of the benefits of using mental performance training and identity work is that it allows you to basically control the interpretive um, response that you internalize through an experience. So You can have a night out where you get just rejection after rejection versus have a night out where you get nothing but positive feedback and cooperation from women. But the mental exercise is to control how you frame and perceive what happens so that you can extract value from it at the nervous system level. You see what I'm saying? So that the feedback that you get, whether it be objectively positive or negative, still empowers you. Same thing in your business. If you lose a client or go through a challenge in your business, the way that you perceive and frame it will either empower you or disempower you, right? You made that comment earlier. And
Absolutely.
that's connected to a concept that the book, The Winner Effect, which I've written here, actually breaks down in great detail. And what the winner effect explains is that, like when a champion fighter, boxer, goes on, when they become the champ, the undisputed champ, and they go on a run, and then they remain undisputed for like a period of time where they're like a god, like nobody can touch them.
Hmm.
That's the winner effect. And it breaks that down. And have you read the book?
I've heard of the book. I've not read the book, but I
Good.
understand the concepts that you're
Yeah.
describing.
Yeah. They're like when you're winning, what it does is it creates a self-fulfilling prophecy or a feedback loop. You get into
Hmm.
an upward spiral. So a couple of things for all the note takers. You want to write down the winner effect, upward spiral, downward spiral, feedback loop, self-fulfilling prophecy. And what you want to do is understand those concepts and frameworks. And then success in life is largely about taking advantage of the winner effect, which you can do by mental framing. And basically, you put yourself into an upward spiral. All the feedback you get, you frame it and re-perceive it as in a way that ends up empowering you. So you extract value out of everything. So again, you're on an upward spiral with your thoughts, your actions, and the trajectory that you are self-directing yourself down. And then you use the power of frame control to ensure that all the feedback that you get ends up empowering you. Okay. And then through identity and self-concept training, you reinforce the idea that you will be successful and that you will live the life that you want to live. And then that begets a self-fulfilling prophecy. That combination of frameworks is ultra powerful. It's deadly. You know what I'm saying? It's like AK-47 to your goals. Now, let's break down the methodology of the pyramid theory, which is the main practice that I want you guys to take away. So I'll do a run through of it, Grinder, and then I want you to do a run through of it yourself and add some perspective or nuance that you think people could take away so that they can practice these. But let's make sure that we are concise here, but also thorough enough that these guys can actually listen to what we're saying and implement the pyramid theory practices tonight.
Hmm.
Cool.
Sounds like a plan.
Oh, yes, indeed. All right, note takers, the pyramid theory. Practice number one is visualization. Practice number two is gratitude. Practice number three is incantations. The visualization practice is a practice where you use your creative imagination to project into the future the reality that you wish to live. I recommend that you write it or think of it in 7 categories. You're going to use the word ideal in front of each category. So the categories are ideal, self, career, finances and money, home, vehicle, wardrobe, style, image, relationships. That encompasses most of your life as a man. Write a vivid description of the reality that you wish to live, making completing those 7 categories, write it in the present tense, as if it's happening or unfolding in the now. Use only positive language or framing, and use all five of your senses as you imagine it. So imagine how it looks, sounds, smells, tastes, and feels. So present tense, positive, empowering framing, as if it's happening or unfolding now, using all five senses. When you do this correctly, you know you've done it correctly. If it produces a state change, it's like a dream. The mind can't distinguish between an imagined experience and a lived experience. So you want to use the creative faculty of your brain with such great detail and make it so rich that you feel goosebumps, you feel your heart elevate, you feel like it's happening, you feel excited. That's how you do it. And what it does is it trains your neural pathways to, and it develops a pattern of thought. If you visualize enough, your brain will start projecting that automatically or subconsciously, and that's the goal. You want your brains to think that way all the time so that your mind starts working toward the reality for you in the background. So you're recruiting the power of your subconscious mind, which is the greatest part of your mind. The part of your mind where the majority of the power lies is in the subconscious. So once you consciously visualize it so much that the unconscious begins to play in a loop that visualization, it will inform the way that you think, feel, and behave. That's the magic. Number two, the gratitude. And I recommend doing the visualization as a written exercise until you get very good at being precise in detail, and then you can start doing it just mentally. But I recommend you do it written. 20 minutes per day. That's the prescription. Number two, gratitude. Write a one-page journal every day or write for 20 minutes. Choose a topic. So if you have a composition folder, at the top of every page, at the top of every page, you'll write down, we'll say, grateful for my fill in the blank, health, wealth, relationships, marriage, job, body, and focus one page on making statements of gratitude. This is powerful, especially if you're going through a challenge. Giving thanks for the challenge that you're going through or for that subject matter is powerful. It forces frame control. So if you're going through a breakup, give thanks for your relationships. It doesn't have to be that woman, but give thanks for your romantic life. Give thanks for your bachelorhood. Give thanks for your future family to be, for your future relationship. Powerful. It trains the emotions and it anchors you in a positive, powerful emotion. Number three, incantations. Gurinder's favorite. Um, this is a physiological exercise. The difference between affirmations and incantations is that affirmations are merely self, it's merely self-suggestion. It is just saying positive statements to yourself. Incantations are, it's a greater exercise. You're going to use the mirror technique. Set a 5-minute timer, look at yourself in the eyes in the mirror. And Gurinder, I'm going to leave the demonstration for this one up to you. And you're going to say affirmations out loud, engaging your physiology. And I want you to give them the sauce because like you really threw yourself into incantations. But
Yeah,
here's the
I like
thing.
them, man. I like them,
Oh,
man.
real,
Sorry.
real quick. Yeah, real quick. The reason we call it the pyramid stack is that you do these three rituals in sequence And all together, it has the most powerful effect on your brain and body chemistry. All right, good.
Perfect. I listened to Tony Robbins speaking about incantations. He's like, when you say something, you get one effect. It's still positive. But he's like, when you say something and your entire body's engaged, your core is engaged, and you're making gestures, he's like, that's significantly more powerful than just affirmations, right? So incantations, it could really be anything that you're working through, man. Like, in fact, you'll start. If you could start even making a rhyme where you're enjoying the incantations, where you're speaking in the mirror, you're like, I'm handsome, I'm charming, I love my face, I have no self-doubt, and you're really about it, like that'll just do something to you. So one of the guys I love listening to,
Hey, Gurinder,
yeah,
um, can you turn the gain down a little bit on your microphone? It's just coming up. I don't want it to blare on their end.
okay, 1 second.
Yep, yep. Just because I want you to do the incantations, and I don't want it. I want to make sure it's recorded
What's that?
well.
How about now? Test 1 2 3.
Yeah, just be mindful of volume, only because it's capturing your voice really well.
Okay,
Okay.
perfect. So one of the things when it comes to incantations, right? Affirmations, like it's a spoken word, fair. But Tony Robbins was talking about if you engage your entire core in your body and your physiology, right, and you really like put energy behind it, that the benefit of that is significantly more than just saying affirmations. And affirmations are positive, of course. So one of the biggest things is it just depends on what you're working on, right? If you want to remove a self-doubt about what other people think of you, right? Like you care so much other people think, so you don't speak your mind. You just want to overpower your brain that you think about you more, you care more about what you think of you than what other people think of you. So, and affirmations for that could be like, I won't say too loud, but normally it's you want to be in the mirror and you really want to speak it. You want to make sure your neighbors could hear you. Maybe not that loud, but you want to, really put your energy into it. You want to let yourself know that I value myself. I love myself. I value and respect my opinion. What I think matters. I care more about what I think than what other people think of me. I'm handsome. I'm charming. I'm charismatic. People are drawn to me. People are attracted to me.
Excellent. Um, would you mind giving a live demo?
I thought I was giving a live demo.
Okay, no, yeah, but I want to go into it. I no, I want to go into it properly. So before you get doing the live demo, any other nuances about the incantation that you want to break down?
No, man, you just wanna you set a timer and just rip.
Okay, okay. Do you use the incantations before sales calls, before campaigning, before the gym? Like, how do you actually use it yourself?
Man, I sometimes before sales calls, it's a variation of incantations, but yes, I do to get my physiology in a state of courage because I'm about to lead
Yeah,
these people to the promised land. Um, Definitely before I campaign, 100% before I campaign because there's something about it, man. Like it really gets you in the state. It
yeah.
almost numbs you to a degree.
Like, this is the part that I want people to take away from with the incantations. Like, it produces a fast state change, man.
Oh, bro, it's instant. Like within 5 minutes,
Yeah,
you're. In fact, before I record some of my
dude,
videos for
dude,
work,
dude, dude. Like, no bullshit, real quick. I think, and I don't use drugs, I've never have, but I think it's more efficient than drugs. I mean, it's got to be like the speed.
well, here's the thing, man. Like when you like, for example, guys will drink, right? Give themselves they call it liquid courage, um, to be able to perform socially, for example, right? But there's some guys who can never approach because it doesn't change that approach anxiety out of them. The alcohol doesn't drown it, right? It numbs them
Yeah.
to a degree, but it doesn't change it. I think the only problem with incantations, it's a much better effect than alcohol as far as like courage is concerned, but it wears away super fast.
Right. Yeah, I was going to say that.
That's the
Yeah.
problem. That's the problem. So if you could, so what I typically end up the mindset I typically get into when I do my incantations and then I'm showering, I'm getting ready, I'm still doing incantations. So that 5 minute incantations is really a 15-minute incantations. But now imagine if I just had that loop going in my head all day,
Right.
where it would be worth it for you to be a little bit more tired throughout the day and you just have that running loop of incantations. Like you have a beeper on your arm, maybe like a 5 minute timer. It buzzes you every 5 minutes, like a shock or something like that. Oh, incantations. I'm charming, I'm handsome, I'm beautiful. Everything in the world is for me. I'm making things happen. I matter. I'm making a difference. I love my clients. I'm about to make a difference in my client's life. No bullshit. Even me doing that for 20 seconds, like you can see to my energy now. You know what I'm saying? What my energy was before. Bro, it makes a difference. But it's
Yeah.
gonna wear away in another 30 seconds probably.
And then I wanted to say this. So like, here's the reason for doing the pyramid theory stack is that's what gives it staying power, right? Is when you do. So my recommendation is make the pyramid theory stack your morning and evening ritual. So every morning and evening, you do a visualization of your desired reality. You ground it in gratitude, the emotion of gratitude and faith. And then you pump your state. It's a state pump. You know what I mean? It
Exactly.
gives you pumps your state. You know, I was about to make a joke, but it pumps your state. Yes, it's temporary, but it's very fast. It's very potent, and it's excellent to use like right before jumping on a sales call or going into your campaigning. But the thing is, when you do all three together, Grinder, like consistently, do you feel like you get a baseline lift over time? Does it start improving your baseline?
I've been measuring my state in the morning, and if I look at my grasper, I've been doing it every single day since the new year. I haven't noticed a state change. My state has not actually when I wake up in the morning go up, but it goes up when I go do these rituals,
Yeah,
right? And maybe I'm doing now. Keep in mind though, I'm only doing like 30% of what I could be doing. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah.
I'm not really executing it to the best of my ability till now. Like I just started like on Monday, for example, right?
It's like a pump. Like, you know when you go to the gym and you lift and you get a pump, like you're like bigger, like literally bigger, after you work out. It's kind of like that. However, you the thing is this, there's two things, right? One, the pyramid theory stack is addressing your identity. So it's creating a new system of beliefs. Now, in order for you to get a new baseline, your identity has to change. That's a big task. That's a monumental task. You can't change you have to in order to like legitimately reprogram your identity. So let's go back real quick to the long story. All right, where I was, I'm not gonna tell the story, but where I was when I started in the game, it was a multi-year process for me to get from that point to where I became like who I am now. Like I wake up at like my confidence is like pretty significantly high. That takes time. So I'm saying that because I want to be realistic. I don't want to bullshit anybody. When you do the self-development exercise, it gives you more immediate control over your state day to day. You know what I mean? Especially if you're willing to do these exercises throughout the day at different times as needed. You know what I mean? You can benefit from it as much as you're willing to expend the energy. So I'm not going to sell it to you and make it sound like a magic pill. It's not. But with enough consistency, if you truly change your real beliefs to the point to where you automatically start thinking it and you don't have to control that thought, that's when your baseline changes. So you have to change the identity.
Okay, I
And
like
then,
that.
so yeah. And then in the meantime, so like the expectation for everybody is at first, you'll have to do it a lot to enjoy the benefits of it. But eventually, in enough time, and the time period just varies from person to person. It depends on how much confidence you struggle with. But eventually your baseline will get to where you want it to get. And but the great thing is it's within your control. All right, so a super quick live demo, man. You down for that?
Yeah.
All right. What we'll do is this. We'll do uh like 30 seconds each. I got my timer in front of me. Visualization, gratitude, incantations, and we'll just go back to back. Ready for it?
Yeah.
Okay. Before we begin this part, can you try and get your mic on? Like, do you have the gain thing on your mic?
No, but I'm not using the mic. I'm using my earpiece.
Okay. All right. Here we go. In three, two, one, executing the pyramid theory stack. I walk into my home and set my Steve Madden loafer on the marble floor and hear the click as I walk out onto the solid marble flooring of my condominium. I close the front door behind me. It's heavy, made of solid wood. I say, Casper, speaking to my smart home technology, set the temperature in the home to 73 degrees and play some Isley Brothers. The smart home technology changes the thermostat in the home. Immediately, the air conditioning flows into the room on this warm summer day, and I hear some smooth, groovy tunes from the Isley Brothers on speakers throughout the condominium. I walk into the kitchen, open the refrigerator, and grab a mason jar of green juice that one of my ladies prepared for me while I was out handling some business. I crack open the mason jar and begin to take a sip of the fresh pressed green juice. I walk across the living room, briefcase still in hand, and walk and stand right before the floor to ceiling windows and look at the view beyond me. I'm in the heart of downtown Dallas. I can see the cityscape, the sun setting above the trees on the distant horizon. The sky looks glorious, blue and orange with the sun's rays casting through the atmosphere. I feel peace, inner congruence. I feel a steady flow of purpose, drive, and motivation. And I feel happy in this moment. I think and give thanks to God for the fact that I'm a millionaire. And every evening, as the sun is setting, I take a moment to give thanks and remember the journey that I went on. And I thank myself for not giving up on me. I thank God for supporting me along the journey and giving me the opportunities to become a millionaire, take care of my family, experience a life of joy, abundance, and happiness, to take care of my family, and to help inspire and equip others with tools to change their own lives. More than 30 seconds, but
Wonderful. All right, perfect. Visualization. All right, let's do it. I leave my home, close the wooden heavy door behind me, and step into the elevator. I step in the elevator, all I see is mirrors above me, in front of me, on the each side of me. It takes me down to the first floor, and I've already called my vehicle, and the valet is taking it from the parking lot where it's parked to the front, so I can just jump in and I'm ready to go. As I get out, I take a few bucks out of my wallet. I give it to the valet driver, as he already has my car cooled, the AC is on. It's a beautiful green G-Wagon, military green. I step inside, thud goes the door, and I drive out. As I drive out, I start finding some nice, cool, easy music to listen to. It's the type of night I just want to cruise the strip. I put on some Larry June, you know, with Currency. It's just a real nice, cool vibe. The vehicle smelling real nice, smells like sage, and that's thanks to the, sage, the essential oils that I spill on the ground. It's extremely clean, vacuumed, smells brand new. And I get outside the parking lot the parking garage, and I just look at the view of the strip. It's nighttime. The time is around 11 p.m. And as I'm getting out, I drive down to the lights, take a left. I'm about to head to the Caesar's Palace. And as I'm doing that, I got some nice music on, and I'm doing incantations in my mind. And I'm almost yelling them or incantations. I'm yelling them at this point. I'm pumping myself up. I drive down. I'm gonna meet a couple of my homies at the Caesar's Palace. We're gonna side through the Omnia that night. I drive up to Caesar's Palace, give my car to valet, and give them a tip to make sure they take care of the vehicle. They move a couple other cars out of the way and park my car right in front. And I get in front of Omnia. A couple of my homies are there. We're just chopping it up, and the host opens up the velvet rope. He's like, "Right this way, Big G." We walk in, and it's absolutely immaculate. That's my 30-second visualization.
Gratitude. Topic for me, grateful for business success. I'm so grateful and thankful in this moment for my audience, which has reached a total of 500,000 followers on TikTok, 50,000 subscribers on YouTube, and great traction on Instagram and Facebook. I'm grateful for the message that I've been able to deliver consistently, and I'm grateful every time another man acknowledges and shares thanks with me that my content and my message has been useful or impactful in a positive way in their lives. And it reaffirms my purpose and helps me feel more greatly connected to my internal purpose. And I'm grateful that I always followed my inner compass of source alignment, which has provided me with the proper direction, which has always allowed me to make the right choice of exactly where to go along my trajectory toward the ultimate horizon so that I could better give my gift, which God intended for me with my life. And I'm grateful that I get to live my life in a way in which I give a gift that is enriching for myself, the people around me, my family, my loved ones, my women, and other men and even women who get to interact with my content, who get to enter the Jaguar's Den community or Apex coaching systems. I'm so grateful that the Apex coaching system has become a true container with a complete master doctrine, 5 survival scrolls of deep wisdom and knowledge, and a coherent pathway for a man to enter Apex to then Apex Elite to then Apex Legacy to master the wisdom of the 5 survival scrolls doctrine and to implement it in their life. And I'm grateful for the revenue that the company produces that gets to pay its employees, that I use to take care of myself and my family. And I'm grateful for the transformations that the company, the community, and the programs produce in men's lives. I'm grateful that Jaguar's Den school community has 10,000 paid members. I'm grateful that we have 2 in-person conferences every year in Las Vegas and Miami, where Apex Elite and beyond members can come and fellowship with other elite level men that share likeness of mind, belief systems, philosophy in the game, and routines and habits so that we can come together and allow one Jaguar to sharpen another Jaguar, allow us to exchange game, go out, campaign, hunt together, kill together, feast together, and ultimately enjoy life, succeed, and thrive all together. I'm grateful to live this existence. It's truly amazing.
Fuck, I did mine today. Gratitude for the small things. I'm gratitude. I'm some people. I did a little differently, but so I already did my gratitude this morning today, and it's about being grateful for the small things. There are people who woke up today, and there are people who woke up today and did not have water. I'm grateful that I have clean water to drink, clean water to take a shower with, and clean water to cook with. There are some that woke up and did not get the nutrients that they needed to be able to sustain life for their children. And all they needed was a 50-cent packet of some peanut butter. I'm grateful that I have food in my fridge. I'm grateful that I have stores, grocery stores, in a walking distance. I'm grateful that I have a vehicle to drive. I'm grateful that I have shoes to walk in. I'm grateful for feet. I'm grateful to be able to walk anywhere that I want. I'm grateful that I have the energy to walk wherever I want. I'm grateful that I could speak. I'm grateful that I could think. I'm grateful that I could change my reality if I so choose to. I'm grateful that I could change my mindset if I so choose to. I'm grateful I can achieve almost anything that I can desire or dream of, because God would have not put this dream and desire in my heart if He did not think it was possible. I'm grateful that I have the opportunity to live in Las Vegas. I'm grateful that I live in the United States of America. I'm grateful for the people that I have around me. I'm grateful for all the people that I interact with on a daily basis. I'm grateful that at the end of the night, I take a step back and figure out what went well that I can take learning lessons from, and what didn't go according to plan that I can pull learning lessons from. I'm grateful that I'm improving every single day. I'm grateful I have no diseases. I'm grateful I'm healthy. I'm grateful I have healthy food. I'm grateful that I have nice nails. I'm grateful I have nice hands. I'm grateful I have healthy skin. I'm grateful I get to be around people who are like-minded, positive, and headed in the right direction.
Incantations. Topic of my purpose, clarification, and fulfillment. You know what? For the listeners, I'm gonna switch it up. Incantations. Topic of the game. I'm handsome. I'm fly. My swagger is magnificent. My mouthpiece is of gold. Women fall prey to my rosette style. I'm so mackish and fly. When I walk, women become seduced by my overall appeal and allure. My mouthpiece is sharp as daggers. I'm so handsome and fly. Women become enchanted by the thoughts and the creativity that I express in conversation. Women become penetrated and opened by my psychoanalytic prowess as I read their mental and emotional, spiritual, and metaphysical blueprint. I establish attachment and connection and bonds with women with ease. I'm universally attractive. Women enjoy me. I have incredible sex. My romantic life is abundant and robust. All of my relationships are healthy. I screen and qualify as best as can be done. I learn from every woman. Every woman that I've ever had is a lesson. My family is healthy and growing. My son is healthy and thriving and incredible. The next woman for me, the next woman for me will take me further along my path toward self-actualization so that we can produce another child of God in the world. Every time I step out and campaign, I learn and sharpen myself and become better and better. The older I get, the more attractive I become. My hair is incredibly attractive. I look handsome, healthy, and fly. My vocal tonality is enchanting. Women love the way that I walk, look, touch, and feel. Women love to hug and embrace me. I can make a woman's day with a simple kiss on the cheek. Women love when I'm talking in their ear and they enjoy conversation with me. Women merely enjoy going out and being able to roll with a player like me. Women love following my leadership because it improves them and makes them better from every interaction. Women enjoy compensating me for my time because it makes them into a better individual. The game is real. The game is unfolding. My game is incredible. I love my life. Every woman I meet is attracted to me, so I have to be selective. Every woman that I meet wishes she could be on the roster, so I have to be selective. The game is easy. Abundance is inevitable. The game is present. The game is in me, not on me. I tap into the ethos and soak in the ism at all times by focusing my mind and aligning my mind, heart, and gut. And I tap in and soak up that ancient wisdom that has allowed players to navigate for century and millennium. My game improves every day from my mental rehearsal and my dedication to self.
That was beautiful. That was beautiful. I'm gonna talk about the game. I'm charming. I'm handsome. Women are looking forward to me speaking with them. I have a crisp mouthpiece. I stand tall. I walk confidently. Sometimes, I'd be lying if I didn't tell you, sometimes I walk through the casinos and the hotels just so people could observe my great posture. When I walk into a venue and it's empty, within 20 minutes it's filled with people because of my energy, my charisma, my charm. They feel my energy radiating through the environment. People are attracted to it. It's an open, non-judgmental, energy-giving, life-giving energy. People want to get around me. People want to speak to me. People want me to be enmeshed with them in their lives. I enjoy giving women a great experience around the strip. I love taking them to one venue, to another venue, and we're just chopping it up. I love playing the game. Who knows each other better? There's no more fun game than that. I'm super thankful, super blessed for the gift that I've been given to learn the game and to really go out here and to be able to get fly, get my spot fly, and step up and make other people feel fly.
Keep going for a little bit. I'm in the other room.
All right, let's switch over to health for a second. I'm excited to be on this journey, this routine, to eat healthy, to be healthy, to allow my body to heal, because let food that be thy medicine. I'm grateful I eat whole grains. I'm grateful I eat vegetables. I'm grateful for yams. I'm grateful for squashes. I'm grateful for peas and green beans and broccoli. I'm grateful that I have the ability to work out in the gym. I'm grateful the ability to be strong because I am strong. I'm grateful I could protect myself. I'm grateful I'm confident. I'm grateful that I'm grateful. That's another thing to be grateful for.
Yes, indeed, ladies and gentlemen. That was actually a fire demonstration on both ends. That was dope. So, ladies and gentlemen, this concludes episode 2 of that Jaguars Den podcast with your gracious host, Kameron Devon Crew, and none other than Gurinder Khabra. Yes,
Gurinder
indeed.
Khabra, the one and only. You already know,
Yes,
people.
indeed, ladies and gentlemen. Y'all stay tuned. Okay, make sure subscribe to Kameron Devon Crew on YouTube and Kameron Devon Crew literally on all platforms. Definitely TikTok, Instagram. Gurinder, you want to throw out your handles for everybody to find you?
If I knew my handles, I would throw them up. But I'm gonna post. I'm gonna send you a link to post down below.
Yes, indeed, indeed, ladies and gentlemen. Y'all stay tuned. We are coming to you with knowledge flowing from the 5 survival scrolls of mastery on the topics of masculine, social, relationships, erotic, and leadership. Yes, indeed, ladies and gentlemen, we hope you enjoyed. Drop a comment on this video with the parts that you found most useful and beneficial so we get an idea of what y'all are vibing with, and we'll definitely keep making content, you know what I'm saying, so we can keep the game flowing. The game must flow to stay purified, so make sure you engage with us. You're more than welcome to book a consultation with myself if you have a goal in the way of masculine self actualization or anything game related, serious inquiries only. And if you have a very serious goal, we can do a one on one diagnostic consultation, get a feel for where you're currently at, discuss the reality that you want to bring into existence, and talk about a strategy and whether or not a coaching situation would be appropriate for the two of us. And if so, you might be one of the individuals who makes it inside of the Apex coaching system. Otherwise, definitely check out my online community, Jaguars Den. You definitely want to be a part of the brotherhood. This is where you can actually connect with myself, Gurinder, and other individuals. Well over 100 men are inside of the group. So check out the Jaguars Den on School, Skool. You can find the link to Jaguars Den at the link in my bio. Go to my website. The links are there. That's also where you can book your diagnostic consultation call with me. If you're interested in any kind of consultation with Gurinder for self-development or anything game related, he can give you the details here for that in a second, as well as a shout out to how people can contact with you for any kind of business services that you provide.
Absolutely, brother. The link is going. I'm gonna send you a link. We'll put it down below in the video.
Yes, indeed. Did you want to flesh out like some of the services you provide?
Um, Not necessarily.
All good. Listen, ladies and gentlemen, you know what we talk about. So if you want to soak up some game with us in a private setting, it's as simple as hitting the link. Hey, listen, y'all stay up. We gonna holler.